Hello, Commanders. This is Commander Corvus. The idea was I had 4 rare black box type missions, and I was going to go out into space and I was going to get them and just see where the night led me. And you can see here I'm just picking up an extra rare artwork. It's not black box, it's salvage. One of my favorite things to do just to relax is to do salvage. Always has been in Elite. It's much better now. You can see here I'm checking to make sure I've got my crew member, because the other day I flew off without them. And on the way I couldn't fly the fighter bay launcher ship thingy. Anyway, so salvage now works much better than it ever did. And I'm off out just to collect my salvage. And we are going to get into lots of scrapes and have lots of adventures. Now, this was originally a 4.5-5 hour session that I've recorded, and I've edited down to 50 minutes, I think. There are moments when we don't really want to be talking, and that was one of them. But I am going to blether on, because I'm in the Federal Corvette. It's my fitted out for everything. Now, recently what I did is I fitted it out with frag cannons and missiles, which is a change from what I've been using for a lot of years, which is, as far as kinetic is concerned, is the machine guns. It seemed like it was taking forever to take down ships, and I have slowly been getting better at the fragment and the missile and understanding that, and we'll see all that in action. And it gets better as through the video. You can see how I'm getting better at doing it. But we're in a Federal Corvette, kitted out for salvage, kitted out for driving around on planets and launching a fighter bay aircraft. And I've got my crew member on board, and we're currently in the FSS, which is something scanner. And this is 6 years on how we find, what are they called? They're called signal sources that are mission specific. Mission objective detected. Programming limpet drone. And this is a safe signal source, so I'm not expecting to be interdicted. I've got no warnings that anyone's coming after me. So I'm literally just trying to maneuver myself over the salvage, launch just a couple of collectors to go and get it, and we're in no hurry. There we go. I think that's 1 down, 3 to go. And then I got in the extra one, didn't I? So you can see I've got a rough route of blue squares there, and I'm just going to work my way through them. I think the FSS scanner is just an amazing addition. It really involves you. Beforehand, you just float about in space and wait for the mission, the signal source to appear. But now you're in the FSS. It's a skill, and you get better at it. It's very involving. And that's, I think, how you also do a lot of your exploring. So I'm quite tempted to go out and do some exploring. A little bit, anyway. There's a couple of things I'd like to go and do. And the interesting thing is this Corvette has got the lowest jump range of pretty much any of my ships. But I've actually not been being too sort of stressed out and by the whole multiple jump process. I'm still flying around Alrai, as where I've been since I started again a month ago. back in the FSS, finding the signal source. See straight away there that the planet's part of the zoom in, and you can see these little white spaces. There you go, and that orange thing there is our mission. I can't remember whether I did a fancy edit. No, I didn't. I did a few fancy edits on these FSSs, cutting out all the flying around and just trying to take us in. So this is a threat 4. This is fun. So I've practiced this. So this is not just happen chance. You drop in, you fire off 4 limpets. You've got 4 salvage to pick up. You're trying to get over the salvage, dropping down as close to you get it. You've got about 40 seconds if people are going to drop in to get the salvage on board. And you can see just as this last one comes in, the bad guys arrive. I do a quick check through of what type of ships these are. Any second now. There we go, we've got a Python, Sidewinder, Eagle. So I feel that capable of doing this, especially if I'm going to get support. Now you'll see here in a moment that it will occur to me I should fire the there we go, we've got allies for the feds have turned up, and I'm going to try and launch my fighter, but I don't. So quite quickly I'm on to the Python. That's purely because watch this. Straight away I've gone into deploy, and in the heat of the moment I've gone to deploy. Of course, I've forgotten that Elite won't just let you deploy on the assumption that you've got 1 crew member and there's only 1 other person than you that could fly it, and they'll actually want you to nominate them, which I didn't do. Adrenaline and all that sort of stuff. So I quickly latched onto the Python. Fighter bay launcher isn't out and won't be. Using the beams, they are 2 large beams and they will melt shields even on the biggest of ships. So the idea is I've learned and evolved is that I need to put all my pips to weapons and engines and try and burn down those shields and chaff and take the damage onto the shields. And then once their shields have gone down, I can switch all my pips back to shields and then alternate the pips between shields and engines. And I'm just using frag cannons and missiles, and I don't really need a lot of power to weapons. But I hadn't got there yet. I was still working that out. I've quite evolved that now, and that's part of the journey of this video. So that went really well. Mind you, look, there are a ton of allies there, but there a lot of those are going to be Eagles and Sidewinders themselves, or Vipers. But that was fun. Did you see there? I'm just like, and I'm thinking, why didn't the fighter launch? Did the fighter launch? And it's suddenly occurring to me, or slowly occurring to me, that it didn't. So heading over to the next system. Now I think this is Chomsky. I've tried to do some really good edits on this. I'm going to rattle my own cage. Is that the right word? Anyway. So this is Chomsky. I'd used a lot of my ammo and heat sinks and missiles, so I thought I'd come here and just restock. And the missions in this system quite often are far away. So I wanted to restock in a station while I was close to one. And docking never gets old. Sometimes you just got to enjoy the moment and then fly away again. Because all I've done is restock and out we go. I'm looking forward to it because I can't remember. I edited all this in the last 4 hours, turned it around, and I'm just recording this audio now post. And I can't remember which edits I've done or anything, so I'm waiting for the interesting edit. And of course, I've realised that actually there's only about 4 in the whole video. Yeah, they're quite nice edits. Just switching straight into FSS. There we go, it's our signal source. Zoom into it. It's a safe. Look at the distance on the left-hand side. It's a long way away. That's actually the power of an edit. But that was actually 20 minutes of it churning through space. I think I went downstairs, I had a cup of coffee. I was a bit worried I'd get interdicted. Now you'll see that I've actually been using Super Cruise Assist, and I swear by it now, especially for signal sources. Number one, it's good. You can just lock onto a target and leave the ship, and it will zero down on the signal source. I don't use it as much for docking in station. Not you can't use it to dock, but to jump out of Super Cruise into local space where there are a station. I don't use it for that much. I mostly use it for these signal sources, which I spend a lot of time in. But what you can do is, well, you can cheat the system a little bit as well. If you are coming into a station or something fast, over fast, and the Super Cruise Assist hasn't already got lock, what would usually have you fly by, you can, if you can get lock as you're approaching the destination, it will actually take you in quite often and recover. That's nice. What are we up to here? Okay, so we've dropped into a system. We didn't get any notification of where the signal source was, so I've dropped down into the nav beacon, scanning that. And what we can see here is we've actually got a mission for 9 structural something or other. Now that is going to lead me on a wild adventure that's going to see me driving over rough terrain in the pitch black, losing my ship, falling out with my Scarab or SRV, being jettisoned into space by a geyser. It's brilliant. Well, I thought so. So there we go, FSS. We're having a little hunt about. See those little... You always want to investigate those because you never know which one is going to lead you to your... There we go. Go into this. You don't know it yet, but there we go. We're running through the frequencies. The orange markers indicate that this is going to be our signal source. There we go. Got the frequency. Nice edit coming up. There we go. So I got that, took that mission for 9 structural something or other. And my idea with the fighter bay, one of it is for reconnaissance. I am rubbish at flying it. This is after some practice. You can see I've got 4 pips to engines here. I'm usually deadly for myself with 4 pips, more than I am anything else. I can just about survive with no pips to engines. It's interesting. So my crew member is now flying my ship, but they will never fly your ship while you're in it. You can't say, all right, mate, yeah, you do the flying and I'm just going to sit back here and I'm going to launch the chaff and do the heat sinks and stuff. You can't, well, I'm aware. So my shooting here is so bad I've had to ram the skimmer. Later on I'll find out that just how easy they are to actually kill using the SRV or the scab. scarab. Scarab. Anyway, but I think I'm getting on top of the game here. What I don't realise is that as soon as I go back in the ship, they're going to respawn. Anyway, but it was a good. These ships are, I'm going to call them fighter bay launchers, are great for reconnaissance. Because I did fly around here quite a lot and discovered that there was barely anywhere to land, and there isn't. So these salvage are like at the top of this sort of scree embankment. That she's helping me out, but I'm not sure how she's doing that actually, because I find it difficult to fire those beams without target lock. But she seems to have taken down one of them. But all I was worried about, of course, was she might take out all the salvage I'm looking for. Doesn't appear that she did. Okay, so there's one of those beasties left. We're about to shoot it. No, there's two of them left. I'm about to shoot one of them. No, there's one left. I've killed it, but because they respawn, they're all kind of come back when I turn. In the scarab. So this is me having a quick look around. Mountain range, night vision is on. Wouldn't be able to see a thing without it. And there is nowhere to land other than the plains at the bottom of the mountain, which is literally 2.5 kilometers away. So this whole sequence is my coming to terms with the scarab or the SRV. So I'm landing in the valley. I'm not going to show you the whole painful experience trying to land on this terrain, but I've always disliked driving the scarab. I've always struggled with it, even with joysticks. I configured this with mouse and keyboard, and it was a hateful experience. And when I saw how rocky this terrain was, I've cut a lot out. Trying to get uphill 2.5 kilometers took forever. I kept spinning around, going back to the ship, losing my direction. So I'm now out of the ship. And what I did is I dismissed the ship, got to the destination, and thought that maybe if I recalled the ship, it would land close by. But what happens is, because I recalled the ship from inside the SRV and then got out, I was in 2 different instances, and the recall of the ship in the Scarab cancelled when I got out of the car. I've now learned. I've done that a few times now. But I was looking for the ship, and I am still expecting that the ship is about. I've only worked this out afterwards. But I recalled the ship, couldn't see it, but I'm expecting it's about somewhere. I'm just waiting for the point where I've got all my cargo. Now I've got to go and find the ship. So what I thought I would do is, for some reason, having flown over the top of the mountain and not seen anywhere to park, I have, you can see on the Scarab, on the scanner on the Scarab, that it's seen something at the top of the hill that is useful, and I've thought that was the ship. Now you can see on my HUD here at the top, I've seen this orange thing, and I thought that was a ship. Actually, it's the remains of the cargo down in the valley or on the side of the mountain. But even as I come back and I see it, I've still not realised. So I've literally just driven down this sort of scree embankment over the other side and on and on. And a little somersault. And then I've actually got over the top, and you can see that there's this whole valley the other side. But I can see those markers on the top of the radar there. Oh, yeah, a little somersault, fall down the mountain. I can see the markers, and I'm thinking, right, well, the ship's over there then. And anyone that's played Elite for any amount of time knows exactly what's going to happen. I found something that's on the planet, and that's what it was finding. So I'm thinking, where the hell is this ship? So I realized that it actually was still dismissed, recalled it, and it landed over there, which was a trauma unto itself to get to. And I got picked up by the ship, dropped off those first 4, and really had a falling out with the Scarab. You know, it has been horrid driving it with the mouse and keyboard. And probably to my own fault, because what I've been trying to do is drive it like the car in Borderlands 3, which is nothing like. And so I am part of the problem. So this is my second load. So we've now got 8 of these 9. I've recalled the ship again, and it's landed much closer, and I'm going, oh yes. However, look at it, it's just landed on top of this. The bit to get me in the ship is just on top of this outcrop of rocks. Well, it's actually all ice, actually, I think. And I could not, for the love of whatever you want, love of, I don't know, what's the end of that expression? But I could not get a connection. I could not transfer the cargo. Tried to reverse and went past it, went forward, went past it, tried over, and just could not get the angle. And in the end, I had to dismiss the ship again. I'm starting to lose the will to live a little bit. And away goes the ship. And I crash into more rocks, fall over, and of course I'm now getting a bit frustrated. Keyboard and mouse still. But the good thing about this, I was realizing everything that was wrong. Ouch. So I'm still actually trying to get into a position where I can recall the ship. So actually what I did is I drove down to the flatlands, or a lot closer to it, at the bottom where I started, 2.5 kilometers away. Here it comes. I'm not still quite down. And getting back to the ship was like, it was like, you know, it's like that last 1.5 kilometers on a half marathon, if you're running it. I just like, ugh, just get over this rock. Come on. And then I thought, what is that a rock underneath? And I was so fed up. I thought, no way. I just drove at the rock, and by some miracle, I boarded. So in we go, transfer the cargo. I'm thinking, have I done it? And no, I've got 8 of 9. Got to go back. And the thought of driving all the way back over there. So what I did, I thought, right, now is the time to properly configure the joysticks to control this. And look at this. I got it. The thing is, look at that. Complete control now. What I did is I essentially set the SRV back to defaults as far as the X50T Pro. I made some amendments. So turning left or right, it wanted you to turn the joystick, left or right. But what I did is I used the yaw to twist left or right, and I found that much more natural. I reset the throttle back to the defaults, which is hilarious because I could never get used to it before. But I now understand how it works, having struggled so much with it now. So that was, once I got the joystick configured, got the throttle configured, the full customization straight at that rock, in we go. Driving the Scarab was a real pleasure, and now I'm looking forward to doing a lot more Planetside missions because it really did put me off. Fully configured the joystick with driving it now, and it was pretty much like flying a ship. So immediately we get interdicted. I think this is one of the ganker ships.
Copy, Commander.
I forget what it's called now. Third Lance. Right. I've been ganked by real life players so often in a Third Lance. I can't bring myself to fly it. It's like getting into the vehicle of a bad guy in a war. You know that the bad guys drove this and it feels kind of dirty. So getting a bit more, so straight into the beam lasers, too large. Taking down the shields, doing a pretty damn good job of it. The fighter's launched. What I'm going to start doing is taking a little bit more notice of how often the fighter's shooting, because I never give it any particular orders. So I think it defends me. I don't particularly often see it shooting. So it's got little blue bullets. You should see blue bullets on the screen whenever it shoots. Now, I had reconfigured all my weapon loadouts, and you can see that I've got it all a little bit confused because I'm also hatch breaking this by mistake. Doesn't really matter. Fighting with the sun as a backdrop is also a little bit difficult. I couldn't see what the hell I was doing. But luckily, I've got about 5 fed allies, and I've got my frag cannons and I've got my missiles. It's very easy in these sort of situations, though. It's going to blow up now, isn't it? There we go. Very easy in these situations to end up shooting one of the feds and getting a whopping great big fine. I actually ended up in Clink once. Right. I think if you pay the fine more often than not, you won't go to Clink, I've now realised. But if you don't pay the fine and then report into the magistrate, I think you then go to the Clink. Oh, look at this, how far away this is. So that's another 20-minute time sink. Watch this. You spend 20 minutes going to a signal source to pick up salvage. And it doesn't show up. That's a little bit frustrating. Now, within the story world, I convinced myself that someone's already been there and picked it up. But in effect, that's a bug, I'm pretty sure. I actually deleted that. I thought, because I actually tried coming back out of into Super Cruise to see where it was. And if it was like a few light years away, I would have dropped back in. But it actually popped up as like 120,000 light seconds again. I thought, no way. So I deleted that. I couldn't be doing that. You see, that was a nice cut. Anyway, so I got these 9 regulators that I'd salvaged, and this is where I had to go and drop them off. And I have a little bit of an adventure here. So first off, I love the fact that it's built on the very edge of this great big crater. I'm not quite sure why. I had this image that basically what they do is they just dump all their rubbish over the edge rather than dig it in the ground. This is listed as a tourist attraction. I didn't know whether it was going to have a large landing pad. Some of them don't. Some of them only have small landing pads. And I had transferred my Dolphin, which is my favourite go-to small landing pad ship that takes something like 70 tons of cargo. It's pretty good. You know, the Type 6, this Killback, all the decent trading ships are medium. So the Dolphin you can fit out with cargo and carry 70 tons of cargo and land on small. So I would call that a pro tip, but I wouldn't consider myself to be a pro. Right. So we're dropping off this mission. That was great fun. That popped up in space. I didn't go to a station to get it. And now I thought when I was looking at the system map, it said that it had a bar, and so I just thought I'd come here. And first, number one, I've seen people charge their suits. I don't know whether my suit wouldn't charge because it's only sort of 90% full. I thought, okay, well, where's the bar? I thought, well, I'll have a look. Now, you can get up to all sorts of mischief here, stealing stuff. But I've been apprehended twice. Well, no, actually, hello. I actually knew he was about. So I've been careful about when I was putting my zapper into illegal mode. It's always nice to see a door with 0 because anyone can walk in. There you go. Some of their interactions with these NPCs I probably was talking too loud then. Are really interesting and quite fun. I think that I don't know whether they're building on them, but you overhear conversations in the bars, and see I can steal stuff from there. There's people about. I thought I'd just have a wander around, see what I could see. I could see I could have stolen stuff, but I didn't because I doubt my ability to be stealthy will not be caught. I was just having a look around, getting a feel for it. Could have stolen stuff from there. I don't really understand suit engineering yet. I didn't really understand ship engineering.
Good to see someone new. Can I help you?
Nice of you, thank you. No, I'm not new here actually. Anyway, in we go.
Wait, Commander. I'm gonna scan. Don't you dare.
Dare what? You said you was going to scam me. I'm just trotting over.
I thought commanders always respected the law.
Yeah, what you saying I'm not? Anyway, outside we go. But look at those pretty geysers. Geysers? I don't know. Jets of water. I thought, I wonder what will happen if I jump on one. Now, I have seen people do this, but I didn't quite expect this to happen. Yeah. See the ship come after me? I love that. So, come back, pilot. Now, the thing to remember here, the ship is in this instance. I was hoping that it would come up and sort of stop next to me and then let me get on it, get in somehow. I could request embarkation, but it's already jumped. So I went up, but then later on I thought, well, let's see if I can get back down. So I pressed crouch. This is sped up. It's not in real time, but it actually kind of gives the impression of panic. You can actually see the ship below me, or you could have done if I'd shut up and you were actually looking. Eek. You don't need to see what happened there. It always reminds me of... I worked with a friend abroad, and we were in this location where there was lots of tall buildings, and we were in elevators all the time where your ears popped, and we were talking about what would happen if the elevator failed, like 72 floors up, and he was convinced that if the elevator dropped, if he jumped at the very end just before it hit the ground, he'd survive. And that fall there as I tried to boost my jetpack at the very end reminds me of that. I might have twisted my ankle as I hit the ground there. So we're dropping off Theo Hub. Let's have a look. I've forgotten.
Welcome to the station, Commander.
Oh, yeah, so I had this mission where I was going to get paid like 6 million if I could buy 63 tons of gallite, which is a mineral. I used the in-game to find this, which is quite easy. It's not going to guarantee you the best price, but all the prices are roughly for this sort of thing. So I used the game to find the gallite, flew there, brought it. Now you can see, and I've got it in the hold. And I've seen this Wartime Salvage mission because I've never done one of those. I've seen one. Thought I'll have a go at that. And that's where this video ends, is doing that mission. So we've got the gallite. We're now working out where to go with the gallite. Chomsky Station. And off we go. Any interesting edits, I wonder?
Regulate speed until outside the exclusion zone.
Sometimes you just let it run. I think, let's see whether I do one edit where I go out and in the letterbox. No, that's not it. A fairly nice edit though. Here we go, Chomsky Station. So we're going to drop off the gallite here. That's quite nice and it's quite satisfying. I use EDB sometimes and it's an extremely useful resource, but it feels a bit soulless having to come out of the game. Being able to do anything like that in-game is quite satisfying, so doing this mission was a great thing to do. Especially for the low cost and cargo volume. When you consider I've still got all my salvage in the hold as well. There we go. Cost me about less than $1 million. 6.5, 7 million. Thank you very much. Right now we're starting to do the admin stuff now. Towards the end of the session. Going back to Alrai. Look at that. Look at this ship. It is beat up as anything. Look at that. Needs more paint, mate. I don't know whether that's a dolphin or a beluga. I really enjoyed flying the dolphin, actually. But not enough to do any passenger missions yet. There we go. That's the flying out and in for the letterbox at Alrai. Cashing in all our rare. I suppose we had a few fights. We had that one where we had all those drop in at the same time. Restocking on limpets for this Wartime Salvage. You can see it's one item. I'm now going to the location. Oh, nice edit there, Potter. So we got to the star system, got the nav beacon data beamed to us, turning around to where it told us to point to, and now we're just using FSS to zoom in. It's fantastic. Safe. Another nice little edit there. Straight into that signal source. Picking it up. It's safe. There's no escort or anything. It's a fairly rough old edit there. It was getting late. Right, that's that done. However, enemy alert. 4 enemies. Enemy number 1. These are 4 Anacondas. I am largely helped by allied feds, but this is fun.
Copy, Commander.
And this is where I worked out most of for the large part of the time, you'll see that I've got a sight that's got 3 guns. And I thought that was the missiles. I was thinking, well, I've got 3 frag cannons. How can that be for the missiles? In fact, that's for the missiles. What I'd like to do is put some plasmas. And this is like level... The missiles are a level 2, which I guess is medium. I wonder what 3 is then. There you go. So now you can see the fighter base ship fighting there. See the little blue bullets. That's probably one of the first times I've seen. There we go. I don't know how much it's helping. Well, I do. Because what it does is it distracts attention away from you. So having the fighter out there really helps. Because their attention is separated between you. Because the fighter does some damage. Now here I've got the frag cannons on the main, and I'm just starting to work out that the missiles are the little circles I should be aiming for. And that's the frag cannon there, those 3 reticles. What I was essentially doing is firing the frag cannons and the missiles at those little circles, see, that was pretty good. Even with the allies there, I would have been banging around there for ages trying to kill that ship. Beams is good purely because it takes down the shields, and then you're all about actually taking out the hull. So this is the second interdiction. You see here that I don't actually select the baddie for a long time, and so my ship doesn't fire either because there's no threat. Oh, is it? No, it is shooting. Yep, that's because it's been shooting on me. Okay. Good old ship. I'm not firing anything or doing anything productive, but my little fighter is. Fire, fire, fire. So I was using the missiles to see whether they were going to take down any of the shields. They do a little bit, but by far the best use is the beams. So I'm just going to rework those fire groups, only have the beams on the primary, and then have the frags and the missiles on the secondary. Otherwise you spend time trying to aim the missiles when you should be concentrating on just getting the beams on target. You can see I've got most of my pips to engines and weapons. The shields are not being protected, but because the fighters out there, because the Fed allies are out there, I'm not drawing all the fire. I think I dodged that one. You can see how difficult it is to actually see them in the dark of space. And straight away there, on cue, I've turned on night vision, and it makes things not as pretty, but certainly a lot easier to see. Nice shot. I think they turned there. Got me. But I'm currently doing power play with a view to getting the less powerful but more clustered frags. See how that works out. I thought he was dead then, actually. Ow. Not much. There we go. So 3 of 4.
Copy, Commander. Initiating telepresence now.
Interestingly, I've got this member of crew that is allegedly sat controlling this little fighter. Can't see them in my cockpit at all. I don't know where they are. I kind of thought they'd be sat in my cockpit. It's almost like I banish them to the engineering room. And I really like it if I could tell them to take command, like plot a course and then have them fly. Because one of the things I love is these little Apex shuttles. Because sometimes you've been flying around and jumping. The last thing you want to do is actually fly and do a bunch of jumps when you're finishing off some missions at the end of a session. So if you could tell your crew member, say, look, you're the pilot, I'm going to plot this course, you fly it. But you can't. They'll take control of the ship if you fly the fighter, so I'm not sure what's going on. Anyway. Fire those frag cannons! I think I'm a little bit all over the place here. I can see the fighters firing more often though. Oh look, I'm right behind it now. Frag away. I think I've run out. This is the third ship. I've run out of missiles. I'm purely on frags. And they're not gimbaled, they are all fixed. It's always nice to be side on. The last ship, there's a good amount of that. So this is all a learning curve in how to fight with a Corvette. It's been great fun. Just on these last missions. This is all done in one session, this whole video. About 4.5 hours, I think. Ish. And I think what it does is shows you what a diverse type of different gameplays are available in Elite. And I've had a couple of moments of gnashing my teeth, but in general, it's been huge, 98% positive. Flying 200,000 light seconds to not have the signal source turn up is a little bit frustrating, but it's uncommon. The hostage missions, which I'll talk about in another video, are frustrating, but I'm working on that. At least the hostages are in the cargo. Never used to be. Right, so this is, I think, probably the best example of everything I've learned so far. So of course next time I play the game I'll have forgotten it all, but after this 4.5 hours and this 4 fights with Anacondas, I'm on it. See, the fighter drew some fire there. Shields are off, so you can see me switch to frags and missiles. Between the third fight and the fourth fight, I did actually go to a station and restock. But the video was getting long and I ran out of ways to transition between stations. So I just thought I'd not include it. And what's interesting, although you've been listening to me blethering, I actually really quite like listening to this just with the audio. Look at this, it's 44 health-ish, and I'm just hammering it with frags and missiles, side onto it. So it's obviously looking at something else. Just hammering it, and got it. When you can get that side on, it's a dream. See his cannon shot off at the end there. And there we have it. So we're now heading into Theo Hub to do something. Goodness, I can remember. What? So it might be handing in the Galite mission? I don't think so. Oh, might just be to hand in this Wartime Salvage. This one little capsule that's so important that they would send 4 Anacondas. Now this station, I'm currently power playing to get my hands on some weapons. I'm quite enjoying the aspect of power play and being allied and being in part of the feds. But you get lots of bonuses as well. I'm actually toying with going to level 4 and doing the 10,000 things that you need to do to get 50 million a week. It sounds like a fairly easy thing to do. If you enjoy trading, you go somewhere, pick up cargo and take it. So it'd be about another. So there we go. We're dropping off that 298,000 is nothing really, but as we'll see, we've got there about 3.5 million. But by we apply the bonuses for being allied with the feds, it's quite a bit more. Hope you enjoyed watching. Hope I didn't spoil the video too much by talking. See you in the next one. Bye bye.